Good evening, folks. I'm back once again to tell you one more little tale that took place when I was growing up. This takes place in back when I was about, I was probably about 16 and a half. I was 17 or 17-year-old in the 11th grade in Easley High School. I had run into another group of young men that were three of them. Didn't live on the mill hill where I come from, but in school I was I guess, the butt of their jokes. I was kind of alone, like I said, done my thing. Had friends in school, but when I left school, I was on my own. They didn't come to my house, and I didn't go to theirs. But actually three people. One of them he was short, but he was the leader of the pack. The other two were big fellas, and the short one, I called him Robinson. He had an attitude. He thought he could take on. I think he'd have fought anybody. He thought he was the best there was. He's always showing off how he bounced around, fight, and he was pretty fast. But sometimes being fast ain't the best thing in the world. But anyway, for 2 years, these three individuals, whenever they run into me, and most of the time we didn't have classes together, but whenever they did run into me, they would make side remarks, smart off, or if they're walking down the aisle, they would knock my papers off the desk, accidentally, and they'd snicker at you when you picked them up. They never laid a hand on me. They never really told me they wanted to fight me, but they always made fun of me. You knew it was going to happen. Well, you got to understand me. I don't like bullies. I don't like bullying nobody either. And I'll take a lot of crap off somebody before I really go defend myself or whatever my beliefs are. And one of the few things I won't do, I won't let you put your hands on me. If you put your hands on me, you cross the line. We're gonna find out now whether you're as tough as you think you are, or whether I can stand up to you like I think I can. But that being said, these boys have done this for 2 or 3 years now, until one day they decided that they could do what they thought they could do. They crossed the line. We all to lunch, and I was in line. And if you know me, you know anything about me, I love to hunt. And one thing besides hunting, I love to eat. And when I'm in line, I don't like being last. If there's any way I can get to the front of that line, I'll quit talking and go get in line, because I want to be first or close. Well, on this particular day, I was probably about 6th or 8th, which was, well, it's not the back of the line, because there's probably 60 kids in this line. Still, it wasn't first, and that food sure looked good. Well, I'm in line, and I'm just biding my time. And a young boy, Robinson, he's way at the back. He comes walking up the line, just walked right by everybody, got right in front of me. He just cut in line. And he didn't touch me now, but he cut in line. And I'm thinking, what in the world are you doing, boy? And he just turned around grinning, like a crappy grin. And he looked back behind me and he said, started motioning for his two buddies. And here they come running up there. He put them in front of him. Well, when he done that, the line was getting kind of tight. So he turned around, he took his hands and just shoved me back. He says, back up. Well, when he done that, he crossed the line. 2 things. One, he put his hands on me, which I done told him, you're fast. Keep your hands off of me. Run your mouth. Don't you put your hands on me. Secondly, he cut in front of me in a food line. And, buddy, I never told him that, but that dang year was just about as important. Hard enough to sit there and watch that food disappearing going by. But it's another thing to have somebody like that cutting in front of me. So, okay. When he put his hands on me that time, I stepped back forward and I said, Robinson, I told you, don't you ever put your hands on me. And he just kind of grinned and just done it again. What you gonna do, big boy? What you gonna do? Well, when he done it that second time, I caught that hand when he throwed up or hit me. And I just commenced to bending it down. And he's jerking, trying to get loose. He finally got his hand loose. And he said, I'll whoop your butt. And I said, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He said, when's it going to happen? He said, well, right now, we'll go out there out in an agriculture building outside, about 100 yards away from the school. I said, okay, let's go. And he said, no, not now. At a class, at the last class, when everybody goes home. I said, okay, I'll meet you out there. Now, you got to understand, they parked their cars out there when they come to school. These kids had cars, which was something nice. I didn't have a car. I walked to school. I didn't ride a bus, I walked to school, about 1.5 miles. And I had to go that way anyway, so, I was going that way. And if I got my butt whooped, I just keep on going. If I didn't get my butt whooped, I still going to keep on going. So, hopefully, at a school, teachers wouldn't find out about it, and I wouldn't get expelled, because don't need to get in trouble. My grades wasn't the best in the world, because I took a lot of days off to go hunting, which I shouldn't have done. But hunting meant a lot to me, and I wanted to graduate. Absolutely. Intended to graduate. But if I made an A or I made a D, I didn't care, as long as I graduated and I got to go hunting. So that's not the best thing. I wouldn't tell nobody else to do that there, but that's what I did. So when my grandchildren see this, they have an idea what Grandpa was like. Because I'm telling you the truth, not what you want to hear. I'm just telling you what happened. So just before class ended, one of his buddies comes right up here to me and said, we ain't meeting you out there this evening. He said, got things to do, so meet you there first thing in the morning. And I'm thinking, okay, you want it, we'll meet. We'll be there, I'll be there. So the next day, I got to walk 1.5 miles to school. It rained heavy that night, but it stopped. There's no rain coming down at all. But the road I'm walking up doesn't have sidewalks on it. So I'm walking in the road, or I'm walking in the grass when a car comes by. So when I get up there, the last 100 yards, so I got to come up over a hill, and there's the old agriculture building, and there's where they're supposed to be. Well, my shoes is muddy as all get out, and I got mud on my feet. I mean, my lower part of my pads. But, I'm there. So I top the hill, and sure enough, there's 7, 8 cars parked there, plus about 40 other kids. Word got out that Robinson was going to take me down. And if you saw the size of that boy, you would think, I'm not a tall fellow, never have been. Never been extremely big either, but I've never been weak either. And that kid knows he ain't got no business messing with me, but his attitude is he can take anybody on. And so here he is. He's sitting up on the car with his 2 buddies waiting. So as I come walking up, put my books down, he bounces off and he jumps up there, throws him on. He starts just dancing back and forth. Says, come on, let's get it on. I looked at him one more time. I said, Robinson, you don't want to mess with me. You really don't. Oh, I do. I'm going to put you in your place. Okay. And about that time, one of the other fellows I do know in school, this young boy, this good fellow, he comes over and said, Donnie, says, I think Ray was the other boy's name. He says, Ray over there says, because I'm your friend, he's going to whoop my butt too. And I look at him and I look over at Ray's a big man, big boy. He's 16, 17. Well, he's 17-year-old that time. I look over at him and I said, no, he ain't. Because I said, when I get through with Robinson, I turn to Ray over there. I said, Ray, you ain't messing with him. You're going to have to go through me. And I'm going to come to you. When I put his down, looked at his friend Rob, I said, I'm coming straight to you. I said, there's enough of this. Enough's enough. Y'all went too far. So old Robinson, he's still bouncing there. Okay, let's get it on. Okay. So I stepped up, and immediately Robinson, he throwed a lick. Well, when he throwed it, I just went to the side. He went by. He didn't. He jumped back. He come back again. When he come back again, he come back with that right arm. All I done is I took my arm and I hit it. As he went by, I hit it and drove it around. When I drove it around, he basically turned him around 90 degrees, whatever. As he went around, my hands come up and I come straight down on both sides of his neck. When I hit him, I just pile drive straight down. When I mean down, I drove him on down all the way to the ground. He was like balled up the ball on top of his knees. It was as I drove him down there, my hands just come off and I went around him. And I went down and I come up under him. And I had him under his knees and I had him crushed up against my chest, and I just stood up, and I had him balled up the ball. There was a mud puddle about 8 foot from us, and I'd seen that mud puddle when we walked up. And I thought, okay, big boy, you made fun about me being soaking wet. I'm going to put you in that mud pool. So I walked over there. I got about 2/3 of the way there, and I felt that right hand starting to slide out because it was wet. And I said, I'm going to drop this joker before I get him in the water. And that teed me off. So I said, well, if I'm going to drop him, I'm going to end this thing right now. So as I come down, I just let him go. And as he went down, because he got his legs under him, I grabbed him on the shoulder. As he come up, I hit him one time. And I hit him right there under that eye. Well, when I hit him, he went sailing across sideways, run into a girl and one of his friends. And they held it. They kept hitting the ground. So I just stepped forward because we're going to end this thing real quick. As I stepped forward, I done rolled back. This is going to end it real quick. But as he comes up, now here I am standing right here. He's like this. He's over here. And he got both hands up and he's screaming, don't hit me, don't hit me. Well, I'm here. And I'm thinking, what the heck is he doing? And I'm thinking, turn, but he's still screaming, don't hit me. So I just step around to get in front of him again, because I ain't playing no more. This is over. We ain't talking about this another day. I'm going to end this. And I pull back, and I look at him, and I stop, and I look, because you can see he's laid open about over an inch, just to look like the bone he's cut. Bad. But that ain't the problem. It's his eyes. Both his eyes is locked. He's cross-eyed, locked, and they ain't moving. And he's cross-eyed, and he got his hands up like this, and I'm still just a little bit to the side. I ain't directly in front of him, but he's standing here. He can't tell where I'm at. He says, don't hit me, don't hit me, don't hit me. And I think, what in the heck? I mean, I am in trouble. Because he crossed his eyes, got him cut in the face, and this is early in the morning. I said, I'm going to get expelled 2 or 3 days for sure. Well, about that very moment, that cut that looked bad went from looking bad to looking horrible. Because about that time, it blowed open. And blood come shooting out. And I mean, it was going 8 foot straight out. And then coming down. And hitting, there was the ground under us was all brick. Been bricked up around there. And it was hitting that brick and it was just splattering everywhere. And I thought, holy crap. I'm going to get expelled for a week. I said, I didn't want this fight. And now, oh my gosh, what have I done? I'm feeling sorry for me, the heck with him. And he might be dying, but I'm thinking, what have I done? I should have never hit this dang boy. So, luckily, at that moment, the principal of the school, which was an older gentleman, come running. Somebody has got to tell him, because we're 100 yards from school, and this is before school, and here he come flying up. And he come flying up, and he's trying to dance around Robinson, because Robinson turned his head like this, and everywhere he turned, blood is just shooting out. And he's trying to get to Robinson without getting covered in blood. And he gets to him, and I think it's a handkerchief he had on him. He stuffs it on his face, to stop the blood. And he's screaming at me, and what he's saying ain't nice. He is mad as a forty. And he's telling me to get my butt up there to his office and get up there now. And he got Robinson, he got his head, hold that rag on his face, and he got him in a tow, and he's headed straight up to the school. And they're taking him to the friggin' hospital to get him sewed up, what they end up doing. But anyway, all the way up through there, I'm coming along behind, because they're ahead of me. I'm walking and looking at blood all the way up the steps into school, down the hallway, and they went out the front door. I went in the side door and went upstairs to the principal's office. I'm thinking, man, I'm in deep trouble. So I'm sitting up there probably 2 hours in a chair where the secretary put me. I'm just sitting there, ain't nobody come in, ain't nothing. And you're doing a lot of thinking in 2 hours. Oh, I said, I'm in trouble. What had happened, they had took Robinson to the hospital. I think it's Easley Baptist Hospital. Took him up there. And they stitched his face up. And thank heaven, his eyes had unlocked. Because that wasn't a pretty sight to see somebody's eyes locked up like that, thinking, what if it don't never unlock again? What if it stays that way? I done that. Oh, my God. But anyway, they bring him back. 2 hours, 2.5 hours, whatever. Here he comes in. He is white. He lost some blood, brother. He lost a lot of blood. But they bring him back, and they set him in the office with me. And we're sitting about 8 foot apart on 2 different sides of the door you come in. We sat there probably 20 minutes. And I'm looking at him. He ain't said one word. And we ain't spoke to each other. Because I don't have, at that moment, I really want to kick his butt, just causing this thing. But at the same time, I realize, you know, he's already suffered a good bit. So we're sitting there about 20 minutes, I guess, and the door opens up. In comes the principal. And when he comes in, boy, he asked Robinson how he feels, you know, and he's, you know, you're going to be talking to him. You'll be okay. Things are going to be better and everything. He spoke to me one word. He walks around the desk and he sits down. And he turned around and he said, "Nah," he ain't joking. He hollered my name out. He said, "Do you have any idea what you have done to this boy? You have messed him up for life. You don't never know if that stitch is going to end up hit up right." And I'm thinking, yeah, I know what I did, but, you know, you don't understand it. Oh, no. The moment I try to open my mouth, he said, "Keep your mouth shut. I don't need to hear nothing out of you. You have caused this. You've done this. People like you are running around picking on people." I'm the bully. Evidently, I'm the one that started this fight. What he thinks. He don't want to hear my side of it. And Robinson over there, he just sitting there like a statue. He ain't opened his mouth. And it sounds like I'm getting ready to get killed, and he's going to get off free. And I'm saying, just let me tell you, I don't want to hear a thing you got to say. You don't need to open your mouth. And I don't even know what he was going to do to Robinson, if he's going to let him just go home free and clear or what. But he did. But he gets out of his mouth. He said, "You're out of this school. You'll never come back to the school again. You're expelled permanently." And I'm thinking, holy cow. I said, I knew I was going to get in trouble. Of course, I didn't know it was going to be this bad. And I said, how do I tell my parents I've been kicked out of school and that I have just mangled some boy's face up? I knew that's one reason you don't really want to get in fights in school unless you don't want to go to school. And I didn't want to get kicked out of school. I'd never been in a fight before in school. But this was a good reason not to get in one. So anyway, I'm thinking, he is raising, he is foaming at the mouth and chewing me out. And it's all about me. Because I am the big one. I'm definitely way bigger than that boy, body-wise anyway. And only a fool would think that little fellow there was causing this fight to start with. So I'm taking a butt chewing, and he told me to keep my mouth shut. And I don't know where I'm ever going to get a word in or not, because he told me to keep my mouth shut. He'd already told me I'm expelled permanently, kicked me out of school. And about that time, one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life, and it wasn't a girl, stepped through that door. And this principal that I'm talking to you about, he's probably about 5'9", 5'10" at the most. Probably weighs about 160 pounds. He's about, he's average size. Well, that door opened up, and in through the door come about a 6'2", 6'4" giant of a man. It was my former assistant principal at Easley Junior High School. I think his name was Thorson or Thor. Anyway, like I said in an earlier story, if you read it, he was a former linebacker, I think, for the Colts. He was a big man. And I'd always got along good with him. He knew I never started fights in school, but he knew I wasn't going to take it either. But anyway, he stepped into the room. When he stepped in, he had the door in one hand. He opened the door, and Robinson was kind of behind the door when he opened it. And that principal was over behind. He was over there. He was just chewing me out. And I'm sitting off to this side. And the principal just stopped, kind of looked up, because Thorson's a big man. And the principal's sitting down right now, made it even bigger. And Thorson had the door handle in this hand. He just kind of leaned forward and looked around the corner to see who was sitting over there. And it was he saw Robinson sitting over there. And he looked over at me. He said, "Nah." That's how he always asks. "Nah." And I looked over. "Yeah, yes, sir." He said, "You've been in a fight, ain't you?" And that's the first time I was able to speak. And I said, "Yes, sir." He looked over at me, and he looked back over at Robinson. Robinson, he got his whole bandage around his head. but it was cut right here, but he had the whole big bandage. That eye was covered up, big bandage right his head. He looked over at Robinson. He looked over at me. He looked at the principal. And then he said something. He pointed a finger at the principal. He said, "You got the wrong one." Now, the principal was sitting there, still had his hand up there because he had been chewing me out. And he just stopped. And I'm over here. He's looking this way. He looked over. He kind of dropped his hand down. And he said, "Like I said, you got the wrong one. I know these two boys. I had them both in school with me. This boy right here runs with a gang of young men. Always in trouble all the time. Doing something all the time. And that boy over there, he never run no gang. Never caused no problem. If he did have any problems, he took care of it because they didn't mess with him twice." He said, "I know him." He said, "Now," this statement he kind of made. Then he turned and looked over at Robinson. He said, "Robinson." And Robinson looked up at him. He said, "I want you to tell this principal just what really took place." He said, "I wasn't there, but I know you started something again. Have you not?" Robinson's sitting there with his face in the band, and he looks up there. "Yes, sir, I did start it." And the principal at this time, which had just chewed me out, kicked me out of school, he turns and looks over at that, like, "What? What do you mean you started it?" Well, I thought I could take him, and I was going to show my friends. And boy, the principal sat back like, and you could tell he's thinking. He was embarrassed, and he was thinking. He said, "All right, both of you are going to detention for 1 week, every day out of school for 2 hours. You're going to sit in there and you're going to think about what y'all did out here. And if you ever do it again, you're both kicked out of school permanently. You hear me?" Which this, to me, is great because I'm still in school and, I got saved. That man right there, back in the 8th grade, I'd been in school. He'd been assistant principal then. I had not seen him since the 8th grade. Now, I'm in the 11th grade. I've never seen him again. We did different schools, different areas. He walks in at the one time in my life that I need an angel. I mean, I need a big angel. And he walked through that door, and he saved my butt. And I never saw him again after that. When he left there that day, that was the last time I saw him. I mean, he might still be the principal at that school now. I think he made principal at that junior high. So I have no idea what happened to him. But I owed him big. One person that could have made a difference in how this thing come out, that was him. Because that principal wasn't going to listen to one of my friends. He didn't want to hear what I had said because he thought I was the instigator. And I wasn't. But it don't make no difference. It's how they perceive things. Now, what happened out of this? His two buddies decided they didn't want to try to beat up on that other friend of mine. They decided they didn't want to mess with him. The boy there, I didn't see him. I didn't have anything to do with him out of that there. They stayed out of my sight. Didn't run. They never tried to mess with me again. The next year and a half in school went just fine. No more problems. That was the end. That was the end of it. But, you would think that we hate each other. I never hated the boy. I just don't like being bullied. But maybe 6 or 7 years later, on a job 40 miles away when I was working, he comes to work at the same plant. He walks in there and walks up there. And when he walked up, I knew who he was immediately. I said, "That's Robinson. I remember him from school." And he turned around and saw me, and he just stopped. He said, "Donnie," he said, "I didn't know you worked here." I said, "Yeah, I work here. Been here about 6 years now." He says, "We ain't got no problems, have we?" I said, "It's up to you, big boy." He said, No. He said, and we sat down there and we joked, talked, and sure enough, he said, "I ain't like I was back then." He said, I changed. I said, "Well, that's fine with me." And now he only stayed there a couple of years, and he moved on. But he was a good boy. Got along just fine. Back in school, for whatever reason, running with the boys he was running with, he was cocky. Thought he could do anything he wanted to. And he finally changed. So now, did I change him? I don't know. I know I changed him as far as me. But he told me that he changed his life around and things was a lot better for him now. And I wished him well. So, only times in my life I run into bullies that try to make an impact in my life. And both times, I must admit, I was able to stick around long enough to see how things changed around for the better later on. So, that's the end of this one. Bullies in high school. I'll talk to you later about something else.